This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk is on the air. If you're talking sports in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And a good Wednesday afternoon. It is time once again for Wyoming Sports Talk Today on 1480 KRAE. It's being brought to you by Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D, the Greenway Commons. Delicious Paisan cuisine at its best, not its finest, at its best. 7 days a week. See Joe and the great crew over at Mondello's Pizzeria, where everything is made fresh and from scratch, and it's always delicious. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue in the Greenway Commons in Cheyenne. Across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, it's First Tier Bank, banking done the old-fashioned way. You, customer service, always first and foremost. And again, Tim, Tad, the entire crew invites you to come on by and talk to them too about their special CD rates going on right now with wonderful annual percentage yields. First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Lennox Auto Body, the main auto and truck repair center over on Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center is on Pershing Boulevard. They're both part of Lennox Enterprises, serving our community needs for over a quarter century. And again, come on by, talk with Heather Lennox. She's the one in charge, and again, she has taken over the family business and has done a great job. Has not missed a beat under her direction. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Medicamp Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs with your doctor's prescription. You can bring it inside, you can phone it in, you can even go to the convenient drive-thru. Either way, Medicamp Pharmacy is here to serve you 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Same location as always, Bluegrass Circle, next door to Texas Roadhouse. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, directly across from Powers Field and Menards, Ray and Cindy. And the crew invites you to come on by, where for a limited time, and we've been touting it, and you must try it. It is so delicious. You can't just have one. You got to have two. The Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich, and wash it down with their Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade. Again, it is here for a very limited time, like probably by the end of this month, it's going to say adios. So check out that and more over at Chick-fil-A, as they're open Monday through Saturday. Platte Valley Bank ×2, the original location over on Vanda High, and the east side location at the corner of College and Pershing. Banking done the old-fashioned way, also done the high technology way, everything in between. Many services offered by Platte Valley Bank ×2 here in Cheyenne. We want to thank Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, where our good friend AJ and the crew invites you to come on by, test drive, kick a few tires, take home one of those 2019 Kias. They need to go right now. The 20s are moving. They're trying to muscle their way in. The 2020 Telluride already on the lot, and that's already been huge. Some great savings can be found today with your new Kia purchase at Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. And last but not least, here for a limited time as well, and it's back, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich from Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, with all their locations here, including the South Side location where they're using the food truck while they rebuild the Taco John's South Greeley address location. You'll find the food truck usually in the Outlaw Saloon parking lot. Taco John's of Cheyenne. And again, remember, when you are ordering, whether you do a 6-pack or a pound, make sure you're getting at least a couple of those Sierra Chicken Sandwiches. Again, here for a limited time. Taco John's of Cheyenne. We get things underway. Scoreboard time. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We'll go first to Nick.
At least do have some baseball, not here locally, but in the region. At least looking to Gary, Nebraska, at least say to the folks out there cheering on the Expedition League. Western Nebraska will host the Fremont Moo, at least tonight, 6:35 there in Gary, Nebraska at the Oregon Trail Park. This is for the Clark Division Championship for Western Nebraska. For the Pioneers, it is a chance for them to go to back-to-back Expedition League championship games, as they were champions last year, looking to repeat this season. But they will have to defeat the Fremont Moo at home coming up tonight. Also, too, want to remind folks coming up this weekend, Saturday, August 10th, 15 through 18-year-olds here in town, or at least around state of Wyoming, here in our region, northern Colorado as well. Triple Crown Wyoming holding tryouts from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. over at Powers Field. Again, this is for the upcoming summer 2020 season, part of this new Triple Crown Wyoming team, and formerly known as the Cheyenne Mustangs. So again, tryouts are completely free. There is no fee for this upcoming tryout. And also, too, speaking of this Saturday, August 10th, having that LCCC, the soccer fields, starting at 11 a.m. with the alumni game for women's soccer coming up at least that first thing up, and then also to the men's afterwards at 1 p.m. They will at least tentative start time after the women wrap up. So again, check out the alumni games happening for both men and women's soccer at LCCC. The soccer fields, again, completely free. Also, too, there's a free barbecue for those who do show up. So it is first come, first serve. So a lot of things happening coming up this weekend.
Major League Baseball. You know, I'm not happy that the Giants have lost 3 in a row, but the Rockies, they're in Houston, and they're getting pummeled right now. Bottom of the 8th inning, it's 14-3. Lambert started for the Rocks, and he gave up 9 runs, 7 hits, and walked 4. Oh, by the way, the Rockies right now pitching with the relief corps, they've given up 14 runs on 12 hits. They've walked 9 today. They've walked 9. Great pitching performance by the Colorado Rockies as they're getting pummeled by the count of 14-3. They are now moving to the top of the 9th inning. Other scores on the scoreboard, well, bottom of the 7th, now it's going to the top of the 7th, and the Cardinals continue to lead the Dodgers. How about this one? 1-0. They have now moved to the bottom of the 4th inning, and the Giants, again, getting beaten up by the Nationals 4-0. Again, that's at the bottom of the 4th. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Cleveland leading the Rangers 1-0. Finals that are in. Matinee performances today. The Mets over the Marlins 7-2. White Sox have no problems with the Motor City Kitties of Detroit 8-1 at Comerica. Indians have shut out the Rangers 2-0. Blue Jays 4, Rays 3. Braves they outslugged the Twins 11-7. The Cubs, they clubbed the Athletics by the count of 10-1 at Wrigley. Games getting on here in just a little bit this afternoon. It'll be the Padres at the Mariners at T-Mobile Park. 5 o'clock games will have the Brewers at the Pirates, Yankees, Orioles in Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Royals, Red Sox at Fenway, and the late contest will have the Phils and the Diamondbacks at Chase Field in Phoenix. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in here, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying a loose change is embarrassing. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible gold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your heat. So find the store already. Grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk today on AM 1480.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Larry Perotti along with Nick Perotti and you. Something that's on your mind. Matter of fact, we'll kind of freeform it today, 307-514-1071. Things that we've had the opportunity to discuss this week. We chatted with both East and Central football coaches. We also talked about the possibility of softball. Again, fast pitch being part of our schools at East, Central, and South. So, and again, you can chat about the Wyoming Cowboys if you'd like to mention your thoughts on the Cowboys and how they might do this season. Again, I'm still holding pretty firm on a 5-7 mark for this year.
Good for you. Again, not going to hold up my hopes for anyone. Again, we've been on the air for we're approaching 2 years.
514-1071 is our
Either way, we can handle it. There's plenty of things to talk about. Just had to check on the technical side for our video live stream, as for whatever reason, Windows has been in the major updates. It's kind of messed with our programming, but fixed it and it figured out the issue with our video live stream on YouTube and Periscope. It's a stupid Windows update for whatever reason.
Well,
that has
you know
been
what?
affecting everything.
And then we had the problem with Black Hills Energy here today, where this is interesting. And again, you know, getting into the out of the sports realm, we got this big old transformer right here at the corner of Delrange Encounters, right?
That they work on, it seems like every day.
Yeah, well, they added 2 more lines with the addition of Panera Bread and the Verizon store. So we're like last on the feeding line. And today, when we all came in, and we're talking 3 floors here, Nick, luckily KRAE was on the air.
Well, this side of or at least in this office, for whatever reason, in this building, KRAE is on a different plug than everyone else.
Yeah, but everybody on the 2nd and 3rd floor, there was no elevators this morning. It was like you were part of the 1960s up on the 3rd floor. It was all strobe lights, you know. And then again, too, you know, here's Black Hills Energy with this, you know, this plausible deniability. Well, it's not our fault. Yeah, it is your fault.
If anything, it's on par with the infrastructure just here in the city of Cheyenne. That again, with the power lines, you know, with the ISIT Event Center, it's deteriorated. It's nothing that is phenomenal here, and it's a major issue. But we made through it. But it's, I think, out of 2019, we've had how many power failures here? On a major section. This is for Delrange, the busiest and most occupied street in all of the state of Wyoming. Has probably the most wacky lines, wacky power issues in the entire state.
Well, and it's even more crazy for us, where we've had to invest, and I don't mind the investment, but, you know, it's almost like we got double secret probation type of protection here. We have the ISO bar down here on our floor, which protects our UPS unit, you know, so when you get surges through the line, you know, hopefully it doesn't blow things up. You know, with our control board, we've had problems before.
I know how to fix that compared to you.
But over on our sister station over there this morning, everything was out. And I luckily found a live plug. But there was no air conditioning in the building today. It was stuffy and pretty awful in here until about 9 o'clock when things got back up and running. But you know, when we're talking with the lineman, and it's not his fault, we're not ragging on him, but it's like, hey, you know, some equipment upstairs got toasted because of these extra surges and crap that went down the lines, and it's like, well, hey, it's not our fault. It is your fault. It's your garbage equipment, and you add 2 high-powered type of entities onto the line would suck up a lot of electricity, and you're setting yourself up for a big fiasco.
Again, it just tells me that it's bad infrastructure, and also too powers to be within that organization just don't know what they're doing, don't really care about a situation, but it's neither here nor there. But again, that's just a common theme that has been 2019 out here. But at least talking about
into baseball.
Yeah, well, we don't even get into baseball. We can also get into college football as well, where we haven't even talked about something that's come out in the recent days. The preseason polls, top 25 rankings for at least across the nation, where Clemson does sit at number 1 with 59 votes, first place votes. The only team, or at least there is, unfortunately, no Mountain West representation. That includes no Boise State. Boise State did get at least others receiving votes at 118, so they're on the outside looking in. But we could break down through that at some point in time. I do want to mention as well, too, with today, again, no guest for today, unfortunately, has been in contact with a lot of folks, but they decide that they're just not going to get back with us. Did have an understanding that for Craig Bull, UW, reached out to them. Unfortunately, Craig Bull, for the foreseeable future, will not be joining us again, to focus more on fall camp. So understand with that. Hopefully, at least tomorrow we will have a special guest, however, joining us from University of Wyoming, at least Cowboy football, one of the players, so we'll at least talk with that entity coming up tomorrow. Coach Gallus still on a milk carton. We're still trying to get him to at least in the kind of preview for the 3 high schools here in town.
Might be, and again, like I told you, he might be on vacation just simply for the fact that they start camp on Monday. So you try to get away with your family for a few days and then get back into the daily grind.
Which I understand,
football.
but just giving folks an update that we are not isolating South at any reason. No, we have reached out to Coach Dan Gallus. We are trying to get him on the show. Hopefully he will sometime this week. If not, we'll squeeze him in next week if we can, if he's not too busy with two-a-days out there at Cheyenne South. Also, too, again, we have outreach to CSU, Northern Colorado. Still haven't received anything from those 2 universities. And then also, too, regarding Superintendent Boyd Brown, have not received any word from him about the at least recent update by Laramie County School District number 1 on the softball issue here in town. So just kind of giving folks a little, at least, update on where we stand with getting some entities here in studio to talk about some kind of big things at least happening here in town or at least in the region or across the state of Wyoming.
All right, I want to get back to what you just mentioned here at the start was the coaches poll. So let's dive into that. And again, we got some baseball stuff to talk about. Matter of fact, one of the baseball notes I see is Joe Girardi going to be taking over the Olympic team, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. So you look at the coaches poll, and you said no Mountain West representation in the top 25. Boise State here in the coaches poll looks like 27th, 35th for Fresno State, 36th for Utah State.
And out of the top 25, looking at any other mid-major conferences, you don't really see it other than, I would say, with UCF.
University of Central Florida.
Yes, at least that's your probably lone representation where for the Golden Knights, they sit at 17 overall. They're tied with Wisconsin for at least 436 votes. So those 2 split hairs between at least number 17 and number 18, but that's pretty much it. It's pretty much Power 5 packed. Looking at the top 5, as I mentioned, Clemson, who garnered 59 first-place votes, they lead the ranks, which is no surprise there. Number 2 right behind them, no surprise, with 6 first-place votes. Alabama Crimson tied. Number 3 will be the Georgia Bulldogs. Again, no surprise here. Oklahoma State at 4. 5.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, at least Oklahoma. Yeah, the Sooners. And I was looking at number 5. Got way too ahead of myself with Ohio State. So that is your top 5. Rounding out the top 10, 6 is LSU. 7, the Michigan Wolverines. Florida at number 8. Notre Dame at number 9. And number 10 will be the Texas Longhorns. So familiar names.
That top 10. Interesting, that top 10, no one from the Pac-12.
Well, the closest one would be Washington and Oregon that are sitting at 12 and 13. Outside of that, Utah is number 15 for Pac-12 action. Washington State, the Cougars, as I mentioned, they are 21. Stanford at number 23, and that's where it ends there for the Pac-12. So, again, out of the top 10, looking at least, again, this is preseason. This is just coaches poll, coaches vote on this and determine who are their kind of favorites to kind of line up at the end of the season. No issues, no surprise. It's all familiar names.
And you got to knock Dabble Sweeney's team off the top of the heap. They are the defending national champions.
And will they get knocked off the heap? Again,
I don't think so.
Alabama's always that surprising threat. Will Georgia find a way? The Bulldogs. The SEC is going to be interesting this season, as it usually is, but be curious to see if Georgia can finally get over that hump and finally up in Alabama in some way, whether a regular season victory or finding some way in the SEC, getting some respect to crack into that top 4 for the college football playoff. We'll see what happens there. But, yes, Clemson is the top dog, at least so to speak. But looking at their schedule for the Clemson Tigers, you look at home against Georgia Tech, home against Texas A&M, on the road against Syracuse. So there's one top 25 so far opponent. You'll take on Charlotte, the 49ers. That at least opportunity there at home, away at UNC against Northern Colorado, at least Carolina. Home against Florida State, on the road against Louisville, home against Boston College, home against Wofford. So there's a automatic win for the Clemson Tigers. On the road against NC State, home against Wake, and on the road against SC, South Carolina. So out of the ACC is usually a tough go about it, but in my opinion, the ACC is not as tough as it was in years past. It's not as, I don't think for Clemson it's going to be that tough of a route for them to make it and retain that number one spot, and also to garner an automatic position in that college football playoff.
And listen to what you said, too, when you read the top 25. Again, the SEC standings, again, for the East, you have Florida, you have Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, which we will see. You've got South Carolina, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. On the western part of the SEC, you have Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. You look at the top 25. How many of those teams are in the top 25?
You got a few with, again, as I mentioned, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, with at least Texas A&M. You will also, too, see Auburn, and that's where it will round out. So, again, a good representation of the SEC. Again, no surprise. The SEC has those teams, has the quality players, has those quality, at least it is no surprise that they represent well. It is one of the toughest football conferences in all across the nation, without a doubt, and they will have that at least opportunity. It's more so interesting to see what will be the bloodbath. Will it be a situation that Alabama just runs the table? Will they go undefeated this year? I highly doubt it. I don't anticipate that. You might have an Alabama have one loss. You might have a Georgia having one loss. We'll see what happens. Just looking really quickly at the Crimson Tide's schedule coming up.
And it's pretty light.
Yeah.
Usually they power pack the schedule. And again,
it's the first year, though, for Alabama, which is surprising because they usually do this to kind of get that.
Nobody.
Well, I guess looking into 2019, yes, they are playing nobody, but it is nobody's in the FBS level than it is looking down to the FCS, where they pretty much go, hey, here's our 75-point win tune-up game, so to speak. You don't see that this year with Alabama.
They got Duke Blue Devils in preseason. They've got New Mexico State. Don't tell me they're not going to.
Yeah, they'll boat race
there. And then I think down later in the season they got Western Carolina, the Catamounts. I mean, they got three pretty light games that are non-conference for Alabama.
And looking at least for some interesting games of note for Alabama on the road to end out the season at Auburn. That's going to be a tough test. Home against LSU. We'll see what happens there, but I would think the home field advantage there in Tuscaloosa for Alabama gets it done against at least the Tigers there. Other than that, though, no Georgia on this schedule. No one really at least jumps out on the road against Texas A&M, another top 25 opponent as of right now in the preseason. I don't anticipate the Aggies there in Texas A&M to trip up Alabama. I just don't see it. But overall, other than probably on the road to finish out the season, as that Iron Bowl is usually tough, against Auburn going there, it's going to be a little bit tough. But other than that, though, Alabama probably has a good opportunity to run the table if they don't trip up against Auburn, which is a good possibility. We've seen it plenty of time. It can happen. But other than that, though, yeah, it is something where you look at the schedule, they should be along with Clemson, probably a guarantee to make it to that, at least be in one spot for that college football playoff.
And then you look at the Bulldogs, who are ranked number 3. Again, Murray State, the Murray State Racers in preseason,
Yeah.
Arkansas State. Again, not Arkansas, but Arkansas State.
Arkansas State that we saw here, or at least down in Fort Collins against CSU, I do believe, last year. So,
and then they wrap up traditional against the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech.
yeah.
So, again, nothing really that is so power-packed for the Bulldogs except going into their own conference, which they don't see Alabama.
Yeah, which is good for the Bulldogs. They'll have that opportunity. It might cause a little ruckus at the end of the year, determining who represents in the SEC championship. But also, too, we've seen in the past with that situation between Georgia and Alabama, where Alabama sat out of the SEC championship, but still made it into college football playoff, or still made it on past without having that extra game. So it is something that's probably not going to be a major issue regarding college football playoff, but be interested to see. Yes, we won't have that power pack, at least lineup. Both of those, it seems like for 3 teams, and I'll even include Oklahoma in this situation, it seems like your top 4 right now for the 4 positions for the college football playoff really don't have tough tasks to make it all the way to the end and make it into those at least 4 spots. The only, at least for Oklahoma, the non-conference opponents that are at least intriguing, but don't anticipate at least upsets out of them. Home against Houston.
South Dakota?
Well,
Coyotes?
I don't care about South Dakota. They should run all over them. On the road against UCLA. Yeah, again, the Bruins, they're not the same. Yeah, they're not the same. So, non-conference for Oklahoma, nothing too exciting. The Red River rivalry, where you have to go to Austin to see Texas the Longhorns, that's mid in the season, October 12th. That might be a trip-up opportunity for Oklahoma. We'll see. At least you're at home. At least, Oklahoma's actually at home for Texas coming up on October 12th.
West Virginia at home, too. And, again, those are 2 tough customers that you definitely want to have on your turf. TCU also you want to have on your home turf.
We'll see about that first conference game, but, again, it's at home there in Norman for the Oklahoma Sooners. But Texas Tech there on September 28th. Could be a trip-up possibility, but I just don't see it. Sooners, they look like the real deal as they did last year. A good possibility. Don't discount Alabama. Can't discount Georgia. And Clemson, who is arguably the best team in college football at this point in time. And looking at their schedule, it seems like all 4 teams, we shouldn't really have a whole lot of movement in the top 5.
And again, remember, Oklahoma doesn't play a championship game. I mean, the Big 12 is the Big 12. Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, the Horned Frogs, Texas Tech, and West Virginia. It's a Big 12 that is very good, but, I mean, it really is Oklahoma's to lose.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And, again, I don't think I don't think Oklahoma will run the table this year because, again, you got to replace Murray at the quarterback position.
And Oklahoma can. They usually do. Oklahoma,
they reload, yeah.
I mean, look at years in past of how many big names have come out of Oklahoma as a QB. Have they done a whole lot in the NFL? Again, you still have some stints. You're still waiting. Again, Baker Mayfield trying to figure out what he'll do.
Baker Mayfield,
he's proven
the right opportunity at the right time.
He's proven that he is kind of the exception with Oklahoma Sooner kind of quarterbacks of what they could do in the NFL. But Oklahoma doesn't have an issue to replace, obviously, Baker Mayfield. With Murray, didn't have an issue. Years ago where they've had many opportunities, it's not an issue. And Oklahoma, I think, should get it done in the Big 12. They might trip up at home against Texas, but that is probably the only stint I see that maybe Oklahoma has an issue in front of them, at least upcoming in this schedule.
You know, and then going down the list here on the top 5, go to Ohio State. To me, and this might be just, and I'm not being negative on this, but it seems like this year, instead of going after just one power pack team after another, you're not doing it. Ohio State has Florida Atlantic for their preseason. They also got the Cincinnati Bearcats. Yeah, not a perennial.
Home against Miami, Ohio. Yeah.
These
the
aren't
Redbirds,
perennial football powerhouses. Now they'll draw out Nebraska this year, and they will be at Lincoln. So
but Nebraska is.
I think Ohio State.
Nebraska's still building up under Scott Frost.
I understand, but Ohio State, I think, has probably more of the opportunity than the first 4 teams we mentioned to slip up. Because really, in their Big Ten, they got a tough Big Ten. You know, you go to the East, you got Indiana, Maryland, Michigan State, Michigan, which is also ranked.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Penn State, they're ranked, along with Rutgers. So you got about 3 teams in your eastern side that are pretty doggone good.
Looking at it for Ohio State, they have, at least on the road, very tough opportunities for them to definitely trip up. As you talked about, again, Michigan to wrap up the season.
They got to go to Ann Arbor.
Got to go to Ann Arbor. Fortunate enough for Ohio State, they at least will have Michigan State at home. We'll see what happens with the Spartans. But traveling to at least Evansville to take on Northwestern. Northwestern is currently ranked. They are top 25. They're at the bottom, though, at number 25. But you will see the Wildcats. So there's an opportunity there. But you're on the road there. At Rutgers, should take care of it. Again, at Michigan. Yeah. So there's opportunities. At Nebraska, they should get it done. Again, right? The Cornhuskers have, I'm not saying they have world of problems, but it's still a program that is still trying to build, still trying to get back to that perennial powerhouse, and it's going to take some time. I don't think they're ready this year. maybe give it 2020, 2021, where the Cornhuskers are probably back in the discussion, back in that top 25 rankings. It is back into that notoriety across the nation of, okay, here we are, Cornhusker football is back.
Well, again, on the eastern side, they have at least two opponents that are pretty formidable: Penn State and Michigan, to win that eastern part of the bracket. On the west side, it's Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Northwestern and Wisconsin, those two teams, more Wisconsin than anything, pretty much top tier teams.
Yeah.
And again, for Ohio State, I think they got a tougher road to hoe to win the Eastern Division of the Big Ten than Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin's to lose.
Which is a good possibility. You can't, with the Badgers, it's a program that has been consistent, doesn't have a whole lot of, at least, foes behind them that will take that spot. So I think you're absolutely right about that. Now, before we get into our first break, for you Cornhusker fans, as we've broken down Wyoming, we've broken down CSU's schedule, even Northern Colorado, we'll give some love to folks, since we do have some Nebraska fans here in the state of Wyoming, here in Cheyenne, here in the southeast part of this state. But looking at Nebraska for this upcoming season, where expectations, it's hard to determine, especially second year with Coach Frost out there. It is, as I mentioned, a program that is still trying to get back into that notoriety, still trying to build and get some stability with the Cornhusker football program. But fans, I think, still hold them very high expectations of getting those wins, having a successful season. Is it a team that could go bowling this year? Possibly. They might be 6-6. They might be 7-5. They might have that opportunity, but I think that's where it is where they kind of float there. But looking at the schedule for Nebraska,
but let's go back to Scott Frost in his second year. I think they gave him a pass last year,
which is fair. I think you have to.
You gave him a pass, but
you were not expecting at least worlds of wonder from Scott Frost in his first season with Nebraska. At least I would hope not if you're a Cornhusker fan. But it is. This is something where you got Scott Frost, where he developed a phenomenal product out there in Florida, got that program into at least notoriety, and now here you are he's back in Nebraska, knows Lincoln very well, knows what the program's all about, knows the history as well too, and is trying to implement that, now a part of being this head coach. But I feel like it's going to take some time. And I would assume that Nebraska fans understand that situation of what you saw in Michigan with Harbaugh getting in, where it's going to take some time. You don't expect them to win national championships now, but give it a couple years. Give him to recruit his classes, kind of like here we are across the hill with Laramie with Craig Bull of, hey, give him some time, let him recruit, get his personnel in, and we'll see what he's made.
But I think the patience is running a little thin there in Lincoln because, again, when you had Devaney,
I think for the past,
and you had Osborne, you were spoiled. You were always near the top. And you've been up, down with a variety of coaches: Callahan, Bellini, Pelini.
And I think for the past 10 years for Nebraska, it's pretty much been down. It's nothing. I mean, we're talking. This is a program that got in without 6 wins, so bowl game.
5-7, they got into a bowl game. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But here's the deal with Nebraska: you're looking at preseason. They get Southern Alabama. Yeah, South Alabama. You got to pencil that in as a win. Now they got to go to Boulder and take on the Buffs. Again,
in the Buffs,
this is a Pac-12 team now. It's not.
And it is a rivalry as well too.
It's been a good old-fashioned rivalry, but you got to take on the Buffs. They should
at
be
Boulder,
somewhat improved.
Yeah, That might be a tough one for Nebraska to win, especially there in that home crowd. There in Boulder, I would say it's a 50-50 shot for Nebraska.
I think the tough game, and they have been tough on a lot of opponents, is Northern Illinois.
Yeah, Northern Illinois.
And they go to Lincoln.
And we saw at least stints out here, but home against Northern Illinois. Same with Colorado. I give that a 50-50 split for Nebraska, where, yes, they could win. Wouldn't shock me if they lose as well.
And really, if I kind of break this down in the West, with Wisconsin, Northwestern, You got to throw Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, in there. They are a much improved outfit. I put Nebraska 4th in that division, and they might be right at the Mendoza line. So again, I don't know how much patience they're going to have in Lincoln this year, but Scott Frost may be 8-4
again
at
for Cornhusker
best.
fans, and not to speak from, but if I were a Nebraska fan, or at least seen the situation that is happening in Lincoln with this program, where, like I mentioned, for about 10 seasons now, for almost a decade, Nebraska's been subpar in football. So it is something that, yes, you are, as a fan, getting a little upset that it is inconsistent, that history is now kind of well into the past in Nebraska, where Nebraska is, it's not a laughing stock, but it is a team that is no longer that considered powerhouse program. And it's something that Nebraska fans, I think you have to realize that, and not hold high expectations, especially for 2019, where I believe that Nebraska still can make it in a bowl game. It's slow steps. I think right now for the Cornhuskers, you need to take slow steps to get back into that.
What they need to do, and I'll get to that here in just a second, this is a team that rolled about 456 yards per game. They were about 247 in the air, 209 on the ground. So Frost brought a very balanced offensive attack. They scored 30 points a game. Unfortunately, the defense is there. I mean, it's
the
their
defense
Achilles heel right now.
The defense has been the issue for years.
31 points they gave up last year.
I mean, it is no longer the black shirts of Nebraska. It is something that has been an issue under Pelini. Is trying to at least work. It's a work in progress right now with Frost, but defense has been the biggest issue for Nebraska for years. It has probably cost them a lot of games throughout these past couple of seasons, and it is something that you would hope that Scott Frost is addressing, since it is kind of the bread and butter for Nebraska. What do you think of Cornhusker football? As you think of the black shirts, you think of the staunch defenses that have been a part of at least that program's history. So we'll see what happens and try to get it into that at least positive direction, so to speak.
And again, with Nebraska, I will put them at 8-4.
Well,
Wait. I will put them at 8-4, maybe 9-3. And I think the losses will come within the division.
Well, and looking at these remainder of the schedule and getting into conference there, the Big Ten, for Nebraska on the road, and this is September 21st, you'll be at Illinois taking on that team. Home against Ohio State, as we mentioned, that is September 28th.
I just don't see that happening.
Home against Northwestern.
Maybe.
Fringe possibility that they go win.
That could be the breakthrough. I think Ohio State, they'll give Ohio State a lot than they bargained for. But again, this is how much.
I don't think they win against Ohio State. I'd set that a
they've
guarantee.
improved. But I think what they're going to do, they're not going to gas themselves against Ohio State. I think they'll have enough left over for Northwestern. But they got to go to Minnesota. I just don't see them beating the Golden Gophers. I really don't. I don't see them beating Wisconsin.
I give them a toss-up for Minnesota on the road. That is October 12th. That is after the Northwestern game. For Nebraska, they'll be at home against Indiana. Should win that game. On the road against Purdue, against Boilermakers, I don't know. I really don't know.
Purdue's is not all the big powerhouse anymore, and they've lost a lot since the late Joe Tiller left that program. Purdue's okay, but they're just not good.
And looking at least the final 3 games for Nebraska, home against Wisconsin. Sorry, I don't think you get it done against Badgers. There's no way that's going to happen. On the road against Maryland, you should beat the Terrapins. You should beat them. And at home against Iowa, Hawkeyes, that might be a tough one.
Yeah,
that might be a tough one to win.
And the games that you mentioned at home, think about this, Nebraska fans.
You got some of the big names coming to Lincoln, so that's very
you got a very favorable
fortunate
schedule at Lincoln. So again, like I said, I look at them now 8-4, and I might lean towards 9-3. That this is going to be the improvement year for Scott Frost.
I say for Nebraska, this is an opportunity. This is a year that things go in the right direction for Nebraska. They get into a bowl game. Record-wise, you sit probably just above a game or two above 500, and that's about it.
I think in the situation where
Wisconsin at home loss, home against Northwestern, I'll say possible loss, home against Ohio State, you're not winning that one, so that's 3 right there. On the road against Colorado, that might be 4 losses there.
You and me are going to disagree because I think Nebraska's a little better then you're giving them credit. I think the defense is going to be.
I don't think you're
shored up.
giving Colorado credit of how.
I know. I said the Buffaloes are pretty decent, but I don't think they're not expected to do much in their part of the Pac-12.
But they're about to, at least looking at polls for the Pac-12 and where Colorado's anticipated, they're about to sit. They're predicted to kind of sit mid-tier of maybe a 500 team, if not do a little bit better. But also, too, the Pac-12 is a little down and out. As we talked about the top 25, not a whole lot of staunch, at least, opponents in that Pac-12 outside of, the two Washington schools and then Oregon. But other than that, though, SC is not anticipated to do a whole lot of moves. UCLA, we'll see what happens with the Utes out of Utah. Looking at least around Arizona State, probably not going to do anything special. Cal, who knows what team is going to show up for the Golden Bears at this point in time.
Well, the thing, too.
And Oregon State should be probably at the bottom.
And again, the Buffaloes, let's take a look at their preseason real quick. And I know we're way past break time, but they got CSU. And they're taking on a very weak CSU team.
You should win that game on neutral site.
You get Nebraska at home, and then you get Air Force at home. I think realistically, the Buffaloes could be 3-0 before they head into
That's a good game to watch.
Pac-12.
For Air Force and Colorado, that's gonna be a good one to watch. That's gonna be a bloodbath.
Technically, the Buffaloes could be 3-0 before they go into Pac-12 play.
Good possibilty.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's not without, at least out of the realm.
No, I mean, again, you're getting Nebraska at Folsom Field and Boulder, so I think that's probably the best thing that could happen.
And you're not traveling far out of the state where, for Colorado, obviously the Denver trip down to Mile High Stadium for CSU. Granted, the CSU is kind of pathetic at this point in time.
You get on 36 and the 25.
But for the non-conference, you're not traveling across the country. You're not getting jet lag. You're not dealing with time zone changes. No, you're keeping it here in state. So I think that could play very good wonders for
Air Force. If they're going to provide that upset, they don't have that far to travel to. It's only about a 60-mile trip.
That's a good game to watch. Yeah. That could go either way.
I think the Buffs are a little more. Again, they're playing in this very tough Pac-12 division where, again, beating each other up is just becoming the thing to do. But I think they may have a little more weapons than Air Force does. We got to take a break. We're way past break time. So let's grab a quick commercial break. We're back after these words.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra Chicken Sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Family owned and operated, Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company offers many different types of rock, stones, boulders, and other decorative products that make a perfect addition to your yard or landscape. You'll find river rock, flagstone, lava rock, pavers, along with compost, mulch, and a lot more. So stop into Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company today to find out what will be best for improving your front or backyard. A family tradition since 1977, Riverbend Nursery and Stone Company, open 7 days a week, all season long on North Yellowstone Road in Cheyenne.
Introducing Digital Wallet, a new way to pay with Platte Valley Bank. Add your Platte Valley Bank debit card to Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or Apple Pay, and have the ability to make purchases with just your phone. It's secure, simple, and accepted by millions of merchants worldwide. Try it today or check out pvbank.com for more information.
Hop into the KRAE Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 KRAE, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480krae.com.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day, at Windmill and Del Range.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with a slight chance of thunderstorms throughout the day with highs around 84. Then for tonight, it'll be cloudy with rain showers possible with lows around 56. On Thursday, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 79. And on Thursday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 55.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today as we were taking a look at the coaches poll of the top 25 and going through some of the big wigs that have been recognized as potentials. And again,
it's the same faces, same people, same programs at this point in time that has been for, as we talk about, Nebraska's been at the same pace. You know, Alabama's been at the same pace for about 10 years now. Clemson's, I mean, they
under Dabo Swinney, they have made a name for themselves.
For most of the part, there's been some years that they've been down, but they've tried to keep.
But over the last handful of years, they've been in that championship.
But Ohio State's back up there, Georgia's back up there again. Oklahoma, after they had a bit of a valley, they're on the upswing in the past couple seasons. So. But it is a situation that a lot of familiar names, familiar faces, part of that top 25 coaches poll. Again, this is all preseason voted on by coaches, determining at least a factor heading into this 2019 season.
The interesting thing, though, that when we were talking about this, the one thing that was pretty consistent amongst these teams, especially the top five, and again, not taking anything away, but was pretty consistent was not all that difficult of a preseason schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you look at.
Well, do I blame teams that are already in that top five? For instance, Alabama with their light of a schedule, for Oklahoma light, Georgia pretty light, Clemson pretty light. Do you blame them where, hey, let's just get those automatic wins to potentially run the table? Hey, if we're already in the top five, we beat up on these lesser teams. Hey, it's an automatic win. It boosts our numbers. It boosts our win. So we have that opportunity to crack into that top four to get into that college football playoff. That's all they're doing is, hey, let's just guarantee our wins here, then worry about our conference, and that's it. All we got to do is just go through the conference, survive that, and then we have an opportunity to play for the national championship.
And the reason I brought that up, because you have a team like Notre Dame that's in the top 10. Okay,
that's independent.
And again, what I'm driving at here is you've mentioned the same names that are going to be possibly vying for the National College Championship. Things will change probably by the time we get to.
I don't think we'll have a surprise team crack into that top four.
Okay, but here's
I don't foresee it. I really don't.
So you look at this independence: Army, BYU, Liberty, New Mexico State, Notre Dame, UMass. And I'm looking at Notre Dame's schedule. And Notre Dame, let's be real, they have a top-heavy schedule. They go to Louisville.
Yeah.
They get a break against New Mexico. They've got Georgia, at Georgia.
Yeah.
They get the University, I do believe that's Virginia. I want to make sure. Yeah, they got the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Not all that tough.
Not a football powerhouse.
Let's see. They also will take on Bowling Green, the Falcons. Not all that difficult. USC. They will.
They always fight for the jewels.
They'll have USC in South Bend. They go to Michigan. They get Virginia Tech. Could be a problem at South Bend. Yeah. They go to Duke.
No, they should win that one.
They have the Navy. Navy's been on a downslide as of late.
Yeah.
Boston College always has been tough on them.
Doubtful. I really doubt that Boston College is going to give Notre Dame a fit this year.
And then they wrap up with Stanford on November 30th. So,
but it's year in and year out, though. Even though that Notre Dame is an independent and can make their schedule, they pretty much keep their schedule consistent. Granted, they have a lot of those rivalry games that they match up with. Again, USC, Stanford, BC, also too with Michigan. Again, those are pretty much the consistencies. It's just pretty much of what else teams that they want to put in and kind of bolster that schedule. Also to get some respect and maybe get those quality wins to sneak up in that top four.
The key to knock on the door to be invited in that 4-team tournament, you got to beat Georgia. Mm-hmm. You have to go and beat the Bulldogs at home.
Will they do that?
Don't know.
Doubtful.
You have to go to Ann Arbor. You got to beat Jim Harbaugh's Michigan.
The Wolverines? Doubtful.
Don't know. And you got to go to Stanford. Those three right there. You have to go to the Farm in Palo Alto.
You could probably beat both Pac-12 teams. Stanford.
NSC.
Yeah.
But Stanford's ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, but head-to-head.
You got to go to Palo Alto. It's not easy to win on the Farm. Okay? So with Notre Dame, they have to be the Road Warriors this year. They have to be. If they are to...
Yeah, if they want to sniff a chance at getting into the national title, where that's what Notre Dame has been trying to do for year in and year out and keeps on failing at it, but this is nothing new of why Notre Dame has scheduled this, and it's something to prove to those voters, to whether it is the USA Today poll, coaches poll, it is to say, hey, we got quality wins. Hey, look at Georgia lost, or Alabama lost, Oklahoma lost, or whoever in that top, at least before him, lost. Hey, look at us. We got our quality win. Hey, give us a little bump up to give us a shot at that college football playoff. Again, it's top four that we're looking at.
The teams that we mentioned before had lighter schedules in preseason, but their conference pretty doggone tough. Again, with Notre Dame, lighter opponents. Again, New Mexico is going to be a light opponent for them. Bowling Green is a light opponent for them as well.
Yeah.
Duke, and again, I don't mean to beat up on the Blue Devils. Football, on occasion they're okay, but they're not going to be that good. And Navy's on a downside all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So really, to impress the voters or the coaches poll, they're going to look at a power pack schedule. I don't think Notre Dame brings to the table that big power pack schedule this year.
Not entirely. They get hurt with USC being down. Again, scheduling those non-conference again against Duke, Bowling Green, nothing too special.
And
again, Louisville.
I'll give Louisville it's still a good football program.
It is definitely known for at least winning, but it is something where if Notre Dame beats them, am I highly shocked about it? No, they should beat Louisville without a doubt. But other than that, though, it is not a formidable schedule. They're also too limited with a lot of these games where they do have to book them due to the fact that, again, they are not in a conference. A lot of teams are playing conference games at that same point in time, so they are limited to who's got an opening. Well, Duke, okay, if you're not playing anyone, I guess we'll play you. Hey, Bowling Green, if you're not competing right now in the MAC, or I do believe they're still in the MAC, but either way, hey, if you're not competing in a conference game, all right, I guess we'll do it. It's at least for Notre Dame, it's better than taking on FCS level opponents where, all right, now we step even farther down and basically hurt our schedule that much more, at least going forward. But as we kind of skirt around with the college football playoff as it is now, at least since its inception, and now we are here in 2019, a 4-team playoff. It brings up the argument every year, and it's something that people have already kind of talked about, or at least tried to get out of the NCAA. Is it time to look into expansion for college football playoff from 4 teams to now 8? Is that something that, for these Notre Dame teams, where they have to bolster their odds to fight against an Alabama that can kind of cruise through non-conference, or at least get those guaranteed wins?
You're adding one more game to the schedule, so most of these teams play 12. In some instances, they play 13. So you're asking for game 14, possible game 15, game 16. Don't know. I mean, there is no perfect solution to this national championship. But I think adding the extra game, now you're pushing the season a little longer.
Yeah, but it is something that NCAA desperately needs at this point in time. Are we fine with this 14 playoff where, granted, back in the day with the top 2 where it was pretty much 1 and 2, that was a flawed system. People are still complaining about this system being flawed, where teams like Alabama, like Oklahoma State, or at least Oklahoma, Clemson, they kind of abuse the system still currently of, again, having a light schedule, so to speak, and basically cruising on into it and not having to worry about coaches' polls or anything like that. They don't have to alter anything major.
And again, too, with the top 5, going back to that, and again, we got to get to another break here in the top of the hour, but going back to the top 5, I mean, those 5 are up there not because they're slouches, they're there because of reputation.
Yeah.
And I just don't, again, we've gone through their schedules, Nick. There is no reason why that top 5 should not remain the top 5. Somebody's going to have to, on any given Saturday, but somebody's going to have to sneak in there and knock one of these big boys off. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that they're going to get knocked out of the top 5.
Yeah.
So,
and I have no issue with the 4-team playoff. I didn't have an issue with it was 1 or 2, just determining on the national title. It never had an issue with either or of what's going on in the NCAA, but it is a discussion that kind of brings up every year of does NCAA on the football side of things, as we saw in basketball, does football also too need to look into expanding this college football playoff or national title potential, at least possibilities for more teams to get involved with this, as kind of on the same vein of what we're seeing with bowl games being added across NCAA, where now we're giving teams that are on the outside looking in other years, now pretty much everyone across NCAA is participating in a bowl game.
A lot of the bowl games are junk. Matter of fact, we should take a look at that when we come back. Let's get to the top of the hour here, and then we'll come back with hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk today. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're working hard for your business. I'm A.J. Miller at Kia of Cheyenne, and right now you could save on the 2019 Kia Forte. The 2019 Kia Forte is priced yet still offers standard features not found on most of its competitors. With Kia Forte, you can charge your phone with available wireless charging, voice command navigation, and 8-inch touchscreen to help sync up your world. Come into Kia of Cheyenne or call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
Wyoming PACE, program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, has outgrown its current facility. We will now be located at 1200 East 20th Street on July 16th. The new location will allow us to help even more of Laramie County's aging population. At our new Wyoming PACE location, we will continue to offer medical and social health services, as well as transportation and activities for our participants. For more information, please call 307-773-8112.
August is the time for everyone to keep enjoying the recreational vehicles, and this includes motorcycles. While you're enjoying the summer months, please remember
that alcohol was involved in many motorcycle crashes in recent years. 68% of those crashes occurred June through August. Never drink and drive, especially when operating a motorcycle. The life you take or save may be your own. Be responsible. Drunk driving, over the limit, under arrest. Motorists, remember, motorcycles are all around. Paid for by federal highway safety funds.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with a slight chance of thunderstorms throughout the day with highs around 84. Then for tonight, it'll be cloudy with rain showers possible with lows around 56. On Thursday, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 79. And on Thursday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 55.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Let's get after it. First off, we want to thank all our fine sponsors, Taco John's of Cheyenne, where they invite you to try their Sierra Chicken Sandwich here for a limited time at all Taco John's of Cheyenne. Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. 19s must go so the 20s can arrive, including the all-new 2020 Telluride. I'm hearing great things about that SUV. So again, see AJ and Greg and the entire crew over at Kia of Cheyenne. Take a test drive and save some big bucks on the 19s that need to go now. Platte Valley Bank, 2 banking locations for you. Eastsiders, catch them at the corner of College and Pershing. See them at the original location over on Vandehigh on the north side. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Delrange, directly across from Powers Field and Menards for limited time. Matter of fact, I think until the end of this month, you can enjoy their Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade and their Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich. Absolutely delicious. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange. Medicap Pharmacy, open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Same location as always, next door to Texas Roadhouse here in Cheyenne. Medicap Pharmacy to Lennox Auto Body, where Lennox Auto Body has their main repair center over on Dunn Avenue and their auto glass and detail center over on Pershing Boulevard, serving our community for a quarter century. First Year Bank is located at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Mondello's Pizzeria at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Paisan cuisine served up 7 days a week. Delicious and always fresh ingredients from Joe and the crew over at Mondello's Pizzeria. And we get things underway at scoreboard time. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go to Nixter.
Well, nothing on the local side, but more in the region now in Gering, Nebraska, with the Clark Division Championship on the line there in Gering, part of the Expedition League, where the Western Nebraska Pioneers host the Fremont Moo. This is coming up tonight at 6:35 there in Gering. I think if you're interested at all, some general admission tickets are still being sold, but it's pretty much going to be a packed crowd out there for this one. But again, Western Nebraska looking to defend and obtain another Clark Division Championship coming up tonight. Triple Crown Wyoming having their tryouts coming up this Saturday, August 10th. 15 through 18-year-olds. They have these players from Wyoming and also to Northern Colorado trying out for the 2020 summer season for the new Triple Crown Wyoming team, again, formerly known as the Cheyenne Mustangs. Tryout, at least coming up, it will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and with this tryout, there is no tryout fee. And also, too, on Saturday, August 10th, happening at LZZZ, 11 a.m. is the start of the women's alumni soccer game. Followed up by that at 1 p.m. tentative time will be the men's soccer game, alumni game there at LZZZ soccer fields. Get attendance is free. Free food as well, too. It's a free barbecue happening. It is first come, first serve. So a lot of things happening this Saturday here in town.
Let's go to the Major League Baseball scoreboard. games that are in progress into the bottom of the ninth inning, and the Dodgers right now trail the Cardinals. How about a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel? 1-0. Now, the Dodgers have runners at first and second, 2 out here in the bottom of the ninth. If it goes final, we'll let you know. Runners now at second and third for the Dodgers. Top of the eighth inning in San Francisco at Oracle. The Nats looking to do it again to the Giants. They lead 4-0 in the top of the eighth. Going to the bottom of the sixth inning, it's the Indians over the Rangers, 1-0. Finals that are in. Mets have defeated the Marlins 7-2. White Sox pound the Tigers at Comerica 8-1. Indians blank the Rangers 2-0. Blue Jays over the Rays 4-3 at the Trop. Bravos 11. Twins 7 at Target Field. Cubs, they annihilate the Athletics 10-1. How about the Astros? They embarrassed the Rockies today, and the Rockies pitching embarrassed themselves as well. Astros 14, the Rocks 3 with the loss. Colorado drops to 52-62 on the season. Games getting underway here. Matter of fact, in about 30 minutes, it will be the Padres and the M's at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Brewers of the Pirates at PNC in the 5 o'clock hour. 5:05 for the Yanks and the Orioles in Baltimore. At 5:10, it'll be the Royals and the Red Sox at Fenway. And the late night contest, 7:40, we'll have the Diamondbacks at Chase Field in Phoenix, where it's a very cool 104 degrees right now. They will entertain the Philadelphia Phillies. What is it inside there? Because you've taken that tour. What is the temperature inside Chase?
I don't know.
It's like 70-something degrees where they keep it.
They keep it relatively cool, but I don't know what the exact temperature is. You could probably look it up.
It's probably in the 70s.
Yeah, it's not like you're sitting out there in 100.
Yeah.
If you want to sit out and watch baseball.
The roof is closed.
I'm just saying, if you want to sit out in 100-degree weather outside, you go to Las Vegas, where that's where they do it. Again, in that brand new ballpark at Summerlin for the Las Vegas Aviators.
All right, our scoreboard is brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand. So find a store already, grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
We are back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. As old Vin Scully used to say, this is wild, as there's 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on for the Dodgers.
Who cares?
Bottom of the ninth inning.
Who cares? Dodgers, they've already won. It's pretty much a will they be the number 1 seed in MLB?
Just keeping an eye on that game. It's a good ball game over there in Los Angeles.
Good for the
matinee
Dodgers.
Performance.
Good for that team.
Real quick, before we get into football, I saw an interesting little
We're already in football. We spent the past hour in football.
Well, before we get into the bowls that are upcoming, interesting little note that SportsCenter put up about Mike Trout, because Mike Trout now at age 28 has that really healthy contract with the Angels. And again, he wants to be an Angel for life. I think we're both in agreement. But they did some comparisons.
He does, but will the team or the franchise keep him on? I think they will. We saw what's happening in San Francisco, where they decided to stick with the guy, but in the end, it's up to the franchise, it's up to that GM of what they want to do with those players.
Oh, by the way, Russell Martin got a base hit, so 2-run score. Cardinals lose to the Dodgers. Dodgers with a walk-off of the bottom of the ninth inning, win 2-1.
Who cares?
Anyway, they're doing comparisons now to him and Ken Griffey Jr.
All right.
And again, Ken Griffey Jr., Hall of Famer.
You know,
I'm hearing a lot of these, especially when I'm watching the Baseball Network too, and I'm saying, hey, he's a Hall of Famer, he's this, he's that. Well, right now you look at the numbers between Griffey and Trout. And again, my opinion, Ken Griffey Jr. should have been a unanimous Hall of Famer, but one jerk said, no, we can't do that. Well, finally this year, Mariano Rivera got the full nod. But looking at the numbers, Trout has played 1,173 games. Griffey at this time in their career had 1,214 under his belt. So Griffey has him by 41 games. Average, Trout with a 306 career average, Griffey 302. Hits, 1,301 for Mike Trout, 1,389 for Griff. Home runs, 294 for Griffey, 278 for Mike Trout. What I'm saying is, if Trout continues,
I hate the player. Like, at least the comparison, and it doesn't matter in baseball, football, basketball, hockey. It's fun to talk about, but it is something where Mike Trout is his own player. Ken Griffey Jr. is his own special entity of what he did in baseball. Mike Trout right now is, as much as I thought Bryce Harper was the face of MLB, I think Mike Trout is probably that guy. You would think. I would think that majority of baseball fans, if you're fringe, would know who Mike Trout is, even if you're out in Baltimore. Granted, up in Seattle, you know him because they'll play the Mariners a few times, but maybe down in Florida with the Miami Marlins. In the Texas ranks, maybe Houston. You would assume that if you're a fringe fan and don't really keep with a pulse, don't really know every player's name from every team out there in MLB, you should know who Mike Trout is. But again, the comparisons and all this stuff, Mike Trout,
is it too early in his career to make these comparisons? I mean,
I don't anticipate that Mike Trout's going to trend downward or he's going to have some explosive year. I think he'll continue to do what he does throughout his entire career.
Does he hit 600 home runs like Griff in his career?
Probably.
And if he's in the American League, and if he does slow down a little bit, I'll just go to the DH mode, right?
There's a good possibility. But will he – the questions right now for Mike Trout is, will he stay an Angel for his entire career? We'll see.
I think
that is up to the Los Angeles Angels
and
to
I think
determine what they want.
They're going to keep him there. All right, moving along. Let's go back to college football. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, because I'm looking here in bowl games, and this one is set up for December 21st. It says Pac-12 versus the Mountain West, the Las Vegas Bowl. Didn't the Mountain West drop the Las Vegas Bowl?
They lost that one, so Las Vegas
I don't
Bowl.
know why they have the Mountain West on here.
I don't know. This is I'm assuming if you're reading off of Wikipedia, so they have
No, I'm reading off CBS.
Well, the understanding is, that the Mountain West did lose that Las Vegas Bowl. That is no longer an option for the Mountain West because Las Vegas wanted to at least elevate that
stakes,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
Right, real quick. So going back to the college football playoff, here are the participants. And you made a point about maybe we should go 8. Well, right now, this year's championship game will be, or next season's championship game is going to be January 13th of the year 2020. If you went an extra week, we're 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl. If you go,
it has nothing to do with college kids.
But you're also into college basketball into conference season already. So you're still doing football, and it's overlapping into basketball right now.
Again, it is not affecting the main line for, again, those are in neutral sites in major, at least, venues in those major cities. Is it affecting, what's happening in play in Durham, North Carolina for basketball? Is it affecting what's happening in Kentucky? Is it affecting here in Laramie?
Clemson, and it's affecting Alabama. It's affecting Ohio State.
How many of those students are going to be able to travel to afford tickets to go there?
Well,
to go to any of these games.
Let's go to the National Championship Bowl. December 28th is the first of the semifinals, and it will be at the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. And the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona will have the other semifinal contest. And then the National Championship will be in New Orleans on the 13th of January, and that will be, obviously, the semifinal winners. Then they have selection committee bowl games. And these will be, first off, on December 28th, the Cotton Bowl in Arlington. We'll have at-large versus at-large. On December 30th, the Orange Bowl in Miami. We'll have the ACC versus the Big Ten, SEC, or ND. Then you have the Rose in Pasadena.
And ND means Notre Dame.
Yeah. The Rose in Pasadena, it will still be the Big Ten versus the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sugar in New Orleans, Big 12 versus the SEC. So they don't mess with those granddaddy bulls.
Yeah, but it still can affect if a Pac-12 team is still competing in that semifinal game. Guess what? If your Pac-12 championship is at least champion or at least winner is competing in that playoff semifinal, guess what? Rose Bowl has to figure out someone else for the Big Ten.
It'd be out of the conference championship game, I would venture to say.
Who knows? We've seen so many at least differences come bowl games and playoffs. Who knows at this point?
Right.
Again, that's just in theory on paper of how it should go to Hoyle if everything is how it is. But we've seen sacrifices be made. We've seen teams move in and out. We've seen conference, at least affiliations, move in and out, clearly with the Mountain West being affected about this. So, but your argument about, at least extending out in making college football playoff, from 4-team to 8-team, where it goes 1 week later, it affects, conference basketball play for college. It affects, getting around the Super Bowl. I don't think it's valid arguments, if anything, for the college football if they wanted to expand to that. And you look at those games right there where you could still at least implement where Fiesta and Peach Bowl right now are your two playoff semifinal games. Well, you would have to add two more. Well, two that aren't even being used right now, Orange and Rose Bowl, so you could at least mix with that. Here it is with the Sugar Bowl. Maybe find some other bowl as well too to at least make that semifinal game along with that, and then have your national championship at whatever neutral site that you want to fluctuate around across the nation.
Right.
It's possible, and I don't think it's a time thing. If it's too long in the season for at least college football, I think fans would still show up for these games. Fans would absolutely still tune in for the games if it did extend out. I don't foresee that time or anything is going to be a big factor into if college football, if NCAA wants to expand into an 8-team playoff scenario.
And I'm listening to you. I'm also doing some counting here of the bowl games that we got coming up this season, and let's get to them. Because it's
I don't want to get to all of them because it is to the point where it is ridiculous of how many.
And really, your calendar day for December 21st, you definitely want to watch bowl games because they've got a lot scheduled on the 21st of December. You still have two games that have not yet set dates. And I'm glad it's going back to the Holiday Bowl. They've dropped the Poinsettia Bowl. So the Holiday Bowl's back in San Diego, Big Ten versus Pac-12.
Which, according to at least my information, is going to happen on December 27th.
Okay, so you've got an update there. How about the Red Box? That would be in Santa Clara. I would assume that's at 49er Stadium, right?
That would be Levi Stadium. That's the only way you could play, at least in Santa Clara,
Big
California.
Big Ten versus Pac-12.
Yeah, that's going to happen December 30th.
All right. So you start things off on the 20th of December. You go to Nassau, Bahamas for the Bahamas Bowl. Conference USA and the MAC. Who cares?
Supposedly.
Then you go to the Frisco Bowl.
I wouldn't read into the affiliations because I don't think the affiliations are probably updated or correct, especially with the Las Vegas Bowl because, again, Mount West does not have an association with that bowl as of right now.
I know, but here we go. Frisco Bowl, Frisco, Texas on the 20th. It's the American Conference versus Conference USA, the MAC.
See, mine says American versus Sun Belt, so I would not read it.
Okay. Well, maybe you help me out then. The New Mexico Bowl, Conference USA versus Mountain West on the 21st.
All right.
The Cure Bowl in Orlando, American versus Sun Belt.
Well, keep on going. Again, I don't know why you're just boring me to death at this point. But
I know that I'm going to bore everybody to death.
I'm just saying.
Look at all the bowls, though. We were talking about it prior to when we were going through schedules and teams like Nebraska that were 5-7. Look at the bowls that they have an opportunity. The Cure Bowl, American versus Sun Belt. The Boca Raton Bowl, MAC versus American. Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, MAC versus Sun Belt. Las Vegas Bowl, Pac-12, we don't know who they're going to go up against. New Orleans also on the 21st, Conference USA versus the Sun Belt. That is all on December 21st. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bowl games. Oh my gosh.
It's again, what it is it's addressing the mid-major conferences that have no shot, or at least they're not going to do anything in the bigger bowls unless you do have a Boise State of the world, or the MAC finds some way to get some school to do something special in those mid-majors. That it's pretty much those throwaway bowls of, hey, teams that are in those mid-major conferences Go have fun. Go do what you want to do. If you're finishing 6-6, 7-5, there it is, whatever. It's pretty much the NCAA kind of tucking them away of saying, here's your shot. Here's some monies. Go have fun.
Here's one. The Gasparilla Bowl on the 23rd. See, Conference USA against the ACC or American. On Christmas Eve, the Hawaii Bowl in Honolulu. It's either guaranteed to BYU or Hawaii versus the American Conference. You got the Independence Bowl on the 26th, Quick Lane in Detroit on the 26th, Military Bowl in Annapolis. That'll be coming up on the 27th, the Pinstripe Bowl in the Bronx. Also on the 27th, you got the Texas Bowl in Houston, the Cheez-It Bowl in Phoenix. Let's see, the 28th, it's the Camping World Bowl in Orlando, First Responder Bowl in Dallas, Texas on the 30th, Music City in Nashville on the 30th, Alamo Bowl on New Year's Eve, the Belk Bowl. I can't believe that thing is still hanging tough. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas, Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee, Arizona Bowl, 31st, has the Mountain West versus the Sun Belt. Then you get to New Year's Day, Citrus, Outback. That's the two games there. On the
You're just reading off the whole list at this point, aren't you?
Yeah, the second is Birmingham. Well, the reason why I'm reading the list, because we get into January, and you still have two Mountain West commitments. The second is Birmingham and the Gator. On the 3rd, they've moved the Idaho Potato Bowl to January 3rd, MAC versus Mountain West. Then the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth, Texas, is committing to the Mountain West versus the Big Ten.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
And then Mobile, Alabama, the Mobile, Alabama Bowl, that's on January 6th. There are so many worthless games. I mean, and again, it puts coffers into conferences, and it puts coffers into athletic programs.
It is something that it's the NCAA just saying, hey, mid-majors, thanks for being a part of Division I, a part of the FBS. Here's your consolation prize for basically having to deal with the Power 5 conferences that take away all the talent and pretty much kind of heavy load those teams and those conferences compared to the Mountain West, the MAC, the Sun Belt, the American, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much of, hey, here's your prize for getting beat up, for not getting anywhere close to undefeated, and also too struggling to find wins in the season. Here's your participation bowl.
Yeah, you get your participation ribbon for getting 6 wins on the season.
Yeah.
We're going to put you in the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. Wow. And again, too, I understand, especially with the University of Wyoming, this is a big deal for us to get into a bowl game. But you saw or listened to some of the unattractive bowls that we got going on.
Well, my argument with the amount of bowls, where, again, I understand it is for entities out here in Wyoming with the Cowboys, where, hey, Cowboy football is not the powerhouse, is not known for kind of postseason play, at least in this day and age. Granted, probably overall in the scheme, it's not known for it's not a consistent university program that goes year in and year out to a bowl game and kind of aligns the stadium walls there, War Memorial, saying, hey, we've been to this bowl and we won that one, that one, that one. I get it for the smaller schools. It makes sense, obviously, for monies, for players to kind of put their name on the national stage, get to the NFL or do whatever post Wyoming. I get it, but there's an argument as well, too, regarding the amount of bowls of maybe it's time to sacrifice a few to maybe up the competition in these mid-major conferences to make it a little bit more of a dog-eat-dog world, so to speak, of you don't have a whole lot of opportunities. You need to make the best of it. And also, too, might kind of kick some programs like the University of Wyoming, CSU, New Mexico, San Jose State, or, again, conferences in general, the MAC, Mountain West, to say, hey, teams, step it up. We don't have a whole lot of bowl games, a whole lot of representation. Right. You need to go heavy on recruiting.
Well, and the thing, too, let's take a look, for example, San Diego. San Diego had 2 bowl games, the Poinsettia Bowl as well as the Holiday Bowl. Well, all they have now is just a Holiday Bowl. It's getting to the point where
and you're also, too, with that Holiday Bowl, you're playing at a terrible stadium, at least an empty stadium at this point, only occupied by San Diego State.
Too, do you want as much money as you put into it? Again, you're looking at Chamber of Commerce's wanting these, Wyomings to come as well as Toledo's to come and play. And then you're hoping the fan base is going to come out. Then you're hoping your own fan base in San Diego is going to buy tickets.
No.
Guess what? Exactly.
No.
Thank you. And they're losing their rear ends on this. Now, again, you got ESPN show, hey, here's some monies. But you know what? It's just not worth putting these things on. And you're right. I think if you get rid of some of these garbage
it'd be
bowls,
interesting to see what the actual financials are about these bowls. I wouldn't be surprised some of the lesser ones probably
are red.
Yeah, they're probably red. They're not making money back on it. It's pretty much taking a loss. But be interested to see what those numbers actually are about it. But it is something that, are we oversaturated with bowl games?
Because a bowl game, and we said the same thing too with basketball. The CBIs and the CITs. You know what?
No one cares.
Yeah, what are you, the 100th best team in the nation?
Yeah.
After the NIT? It should be a reward.
Is it something that, again, nothing against Coach Allen Edwards in Wyoming winning the thing a couple of years ago, but is it something that you look up at the rafters and go, yeah, for recruiting, hey, we won the CBI tournament.
We're the 125th
cool.
best team in the nation. Who cares?
No, it does not matter.
But the thing is, with college football, and again, I think back to Joe Tiller's team losing to BYU in the WAC championship in overtime. What a great game that was. What a great season for the Wyoming Cowboys. They wrap up at 10-3, and they were excluded from a bowl. 10-3. And we're sitting here today going, hey, 6-6, you can go to a bowl game. A bowl game should be based on a reward system. What you're
you look at over in Larrabee last year with Wyoming finishing 6-6, winning 4 in a row. Quality. What were the quality wins that this team was allowed to get into a bowl game last year? Again, they didn't make it, and I think that was the right decision by the Mountain West. Yeah. Absolutely. But you look at what wins. Basically,
Hawaii, Wofford. They had Air Force, CSU,
New Mexico,
San Jose, and New Mexico.
Any one of those outside of Hawaii are a quality win that say, yes, this is a program that deserves to go to the postseason? Not really.
Then you go look at their losses.
But again, not to pick on,
got pounded.
But not to pick on University of Wyoming. There's other teams that sneak in just like that where they don't have anything close to quality wins where, yes, hey, let's send you off to the Belk Bowl or the New Mexico Bowl. Go have fun out there where it's, I don't know, it feels like it's watering down football, or at least NCAA football a bit, where competition where, hey, at least you tried, here you go. Your schedule is mediocre, but you still, at least to your credit, you beat those teams, and, well, here you go.
You're trying to throw monies at these programs, and again, everything's split. You get, and again, I'll go to $1 million bowl. You get $500,000. Now, that's also based on ticket sales. You got to sell your allotment of tickets.
Which Wyoming fans usually do pretty well.
And you know what? And tipping my cap to them. But, in some
I think they
cases,
did. I think they sold, at least from our last, at least for the Idaho Potato Bowl in that contest, I think ticket sales from what our last indication, and I think that was from at least 80, Tom Berman, they were not at 100%, but it was still good enough. But it was also an unfortunate loss in that bowl for the amount of tickets that UW invested in.
Right. But again, too, though, Nick, I'm saying, you go to $1 million bowl, you get $500,000, $500,000 split amongst the league. But you must sell your tickets to your fan base to get guaranteed monies. And again, too, the same thing would be, to whoever they play. Northern Illinois, they got to sell their tickets, and again, they got to share monies with the rest of the league. And again, it's about the almighty dollar. It's always being waved at all of these universities, these institutions. It's good business on the side of these communities who say, I'll step up, we'll sponsor a bowl, we'll call it the Belk Bowl, and we'll get 2 teams in there, we'll give them X amount of dollars.
Well, my question with the whole thing is I would love to see if there would be any correlation or what coaches' thoughts would be about this if bowl games were at least eliminated, where it was a little bit tougher to get into postseason play, especially even on the Mount, at least in the mid-major conferences, including the Mountain West, across the nation in whole, at least in Division I FBS level football. If you eliminate that, does that elevate the game of football? Does it elevate the play style? Does it elevate, teams to be more aggressive on the recruiting side, at least in a legal way. At least avoid teams that go to kind of the illegal route, which I wouldn't doubt some still kind of do at this point in time. But I wonder if there would be any correlation that if you eliminate the bowl games, not everyone has a shot at it. It's not that easy to get into that postseason play. You eliminate it, make it a little bit more tougher, but it also forces those coaches, whether in mid-majors or the Power Fives, to kind of elevate the game. Elevate those schedules as well, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Go aggressive on that and that recruiting to say, okay, it's that much tougher for us to get in. All right, let's drive a little bit harder and push a little bit harder to get some representation, or at least kind of prove to these bulls that are still left, hey, we're worth it.
Here's my gripe about this. Let's say we beat Texas State. Let's say we beat your Idaho Vandals. Okay? They're lesser opponents, right?
Well, Idaho's an FCS teams. Yeah, very less.
Okay.
Texas State, again, competing, I think, still in the Sun Belt, but yeah.
Still, those
or they're in the
games,
Conference USA, yeah.
All right, Idaho. That should not be counted towards their 6-win season.
No, that is not a quality win. That is a team that, yes, you should just whip on and have fun.
Same thing when, even though Wofford last year when they came up, that shouldn't have been counted as a quality win.
I don't think it was. That's hence the reason why Wyoming did not.
It was. No, they were 6-6 last year.
But you're talking quality win. Yes, it was a win in the actual win-loss column where it goes and reflects that's at least those numbers. But was it in a bowl for the Arizona Bowl members, for New Mexico, for whatever Mountain West,
San Jose State?
I'm just saying.
I know, but you beat.
Was it a quality win? Was it
low.
a quality win for at least for Wyoming to defeat Wofford last year? No, and we saw it in at least kind of in the indication by no bowls going after Wyoming, even if they were 6-6. I think that was it. And I think probably where Commissioner Craig Thompson kind of skirted around in Mountain West media days, and I think he's probably, I'm not going to say afraid to say it, but he's probably not going to say it in public, where he probably did fight for Wyoming, but it's pretty a tough case to go, hey, this team beat San Jose State that won one game. New Mexico, that barely wins 2 games. CSU having a rough year. Air Force, that was not impressive. Wofford, an FCS level team. And again, as you mentioned, the only quality against Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's about it. They had one quality win out of their 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to sell that team.
I'd give them 2. I'd give Air Force. I would give that a quality win last year. Those were the top of the charts as far as I'm concerned. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little baseball. And this one I'm not thrilled to talk about, but we'll be back after these words.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra Chicken Sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Wisdom, expertise, compassion, qualities that are the foundation of Cheyenne Urological. With Doctors Bryant, Everett, Gajewski, and their highly trained staff providing top quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence, you can trust Cheyenne Urological to give you the highest quality urinary care. Now offering the latest in robotic surgery, call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131. That's 635-4131.
10 years ago, the Department of Defense selected High West Energy to provide electricity on F.E. Warren Air Force Base. For a decade, we have been proud to work hand in hand with the Air Force leadership to ensure we provide the base with the affordable, reliable power it needs to be an economic driver for the region and serve a vital national security interest for this country. High West Energy, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
The end of the summer is in sight. Did you accomplish all of your home improvements and remodeling projects? Whether you're remodeling your kitchen or adding a little extra space for your growing family, the Home Equity Line of Credit with Platte Valley Bank can help you finish what you want to complete this summer. So stop in and we'll show you the hidden value in your home with a Home Equity Line of Credit with Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All lines of credit are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
Don't move firewood. Firewood can carry insects and diseases that kill trees. Remember to always get firewood as close to your destination as possible. Burn firewood where you buy or gather it. Trees in towns and forests are threatened by native and exotic insects and diseases that can hitch a ride in a load of firewood. Let's keep forests healthy so we can continue to enjoy camping, hiking, hunting, and fishing. Brought to you by the Wyoming State Forestry Division in cooperation with the U.S. Forest Service.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM, and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Don Morris at 307-637-0301.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with a slight chance of thunderstorms throughout the day with highs around 84. Then for tonight, it'll be cloudy with rain showers possible with lows around 56. On Thursday, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 79. And on Thursday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 55.
You bleed brown and gold? So do we. Wyoming Cowboys football and basketball is always front and center on this show. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today as we looked enough at college football. I knew this was going to happen, and I'm going to bring it up here in just a second. First off, I was reading earlier today that the Toronto Blue Jays in the Rogers Center have decided that they're going to extend the netting there in the Rogers Center.
But that's it for 2020.
Yeah,
so.
for 2020. But here's where this ticks me off. Illinois' 2 senators have urged Major League Baseball to be more transparent about fans who are injured by foul ball, saying the lack of data is creating confusion about the extent of the problem. Democratic Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth said in a letter to Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred this week that MLB should collect and report data about fan injuries. The letter says we currently rely on media coverage about foul ball injuries, which can lead to misinformation and confusion. The senators say the data will provide a more honest dialogue.
What confusion? Someone's getting hurt. You see video evidence where cameras are all plentiful in every ballpark. Where, hey, look, that little kid just got plunked in the face. Look at the blood.
And again, last month the Chicago White Sox became the first Major League team to extend the protective netting from foul pole to foul pole. The safety measure was announced a week after a foul ball at the park sent a woman to the hospital with her head bleeding. Several fans, including
there you go. There's your evidence right there, Senator.
Several fans, including a 2-year-old girl in Houston, have been injured by hard-hit foul balls this season. You know, we've had this.
What a bunch of idiots.
I know.
Out there.
We've had this discussion on numerous occasions, and as a matter of fact, I even was talking about it over in our sister station.
It's a fine line with the netting where it is also too something fans do need to pay attention. Now, in this day and age, I get it, but also too netting does need to be extended. Now, with the White Sox having it from at least foul pole to foul pole, to me that seems a little extreme to that point. Maybe, I don't know if we saw it down at Coors or I think.
Did it bother you? Did it bother when we moved? Now again, when you're up in the third
I
deck,
don't mind seeing an obstructive view. Besides, at least instead behind a netting. I mean, it'd be nice to not have something in the way where you still notice that netting. It is still in the way, and it's still away from interacting a part of that game.
The netting didn't bother me one bit when we were 16 rows behind the Giants dugout. It did not, and we were right at the fringe at the end of the netting. Remember?
I'm going back to the day where the netting wasn't that far, where there's unobstructed, and it was not an issue. Granted, I'm paying attention to the game. I can understand.
There you go. And let's go back. Let's go back in time now, okay? And I always get grief about it. But back in time, people weren't bringing cell phones to games.
Well,
you were bringing a glove.
Yeah, well, some people do. It's 50-50.
You weren't bringing babies to the game. you brought, toddlers more than you brought babies.
Well, who cares? What argument is that? I mean, as baseball's trying to make it into a family sport, hey, some entities, some families have to do that. I don't blame it. Is it probably the smart thing to do? Not really. Probably not. Especially some of the extreme younger ones. But again, I get it. I'm not going to say that they can't.
No, but it's not a smart idea, right? I mean, let's be real. Why are you putting...
Unless the parents are smart enough to realize, hey, it is live balls. And
they're not too smart. Bringing a baby with you to a ball game. This is what babysitters / grandma, grandpa, and aunts and uncles are all about. You leave the baby with them.
And granted, if the reason why you're taking the young one to the game because, hey, you couldn't afford a babysitter, then probably you should be affording a baseball game.
Affording a baseball game.
Yeah, so there might be the argument there, but I understand. There are some stints, some entities, but again, overall, is it a smart decision? No. Am I going to say, hey, parents of young ones, you can't do it, or at least of the extremely young, kind of babies, not toddlers? I'm not going to bar you from the ballpark, but it is something of, you might want to rethink this. You might want to just kind of camp at home for a couple of years, and then maybe when they're 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there, all right, then toss them out.
Maybe they understand it. But see, here's what's going on. So we go back in time as opposed to today. Again, cell phones have been around, we'll say, 20 plus years. But you weren't bringing the big bag phones with you to the ball game. Or what was the one like you'd see in the movie Night at the Roxbury? We weren't bringing phones like that with us to the ball game. We got the little flip phones, you got your iPhones and everything. Those, and you see them all the time. They're always on the phone. We saw it when we were there when was it Pilar's bat came into the stands there?
I don't know, but either way, move on.
But somebody that was like a couple rows in front of them was on their phone. I mean, criminy. I'm just sitting here going, you're asking for trouble. And again, you go to a baseball game to watch 9 innings of your favorite team, and you enjoy a game.
But also, too, once you enter those stadium, at least gates, and you're a part of at least a football game, basketball, NHL, MLB, especially with baseball, where, again, it is very, at least, active in the crowd with at least baseballs and bats every once in a while, at least going into foul territories or even out in the outfield with home runs.
More baseballs.
But either way, though, it is something that once you enter those gates, you kind of understand you run the risk. You understand if that's a possibility and that you might want to pay attention at a point in time, or at least when live action is in play. Hence the reason why some of those, or at least across MLB, the ushers prevent you from going down the steps during at least live play, so you're not, focused on the stairs and get plunked all of a sudden. No, they make sure, hey, let's be smart about this. Hold up. Once it's safe, then you can walk on down the aisle.
Well, and I go here with this now.
But again, you go through those gates. You go through any arena, any ballpark, any venue.
Own risk.
You know what's going to happen. Yeah, you know that it can be a possibility. Absolutely.
And I sit here. And again, I don't have a problem with the netting. I personally don't have a problem with it.
If I could have it my way, I would have, again, the limited netting where, again, you run the risk. You have that understanding. Hey, it happens. Just be aware, be smart about it. Again, for me, if I had my opportunity, I'd say limit the netting, but that's just me. I get it where we are right now. I get that it is a necessity for those fans that are kind of the out of the norm or not paying attention to the game, where it is now kind of a growing trend. I get it, but for me, I would rather have it where it's an uninterrupted view outside of the nets.
Well, sorry,
where you can have the interaction.
Sorry, I can't take you back 20 years ago. Again,
it's not even 20 years ago. I remember where that netting, where even going to the Rockies game, where that was my first MLB game in quite some time, about a couple of years. I go back to about 2012, 2013. Even back then, the nets weren't as far as I remember, where I was sitting behind that dugout on the Giants or A's side when they would come into town. And you could have those interactions with those players that would toss up balls.
You go back when I took you and your sister in '98 to see the Athletics. and they were taking on the Angels in the Coliseum back in that day, you only had the netting behind home plate.
Mm-hmm.
And it extended to the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
That's how far it extended. You had a wide open field because we were right behind the A's dugout a few sections back.
Yeah.
But the point is, now it is extended. It's going to have to extend all the way down the lines simply for the fact that you have too many people, and I say this, and we are the product of it. We are the morons who allowed it to happen. You got too many people that think it's so funny and so cool, and I want to, get online, and I want to talk on the phone, and I don't care about the game. You got morons that go to these games that don't care.
That's fine. They have the right to.
They can do what they want to do. And
Not going to be like you, Mr. Dictator, over there.
No, but I'm sorry. I still have a problem with taking babies to the game. Babies. I have a problem with that. And as a matter of fact, you saw one guy catch Pablo Sandoval's home run while holding his baby.
He made a good catch, and he made the news for it.
What if he'd have missed it? What if it had hit the kid in the head? It's a baby.
It's a what-if question. I mean, you could ask a million what-if questions, but he didn't. He made the catch. There you go. Again, he moves on.
Chicago, what if they had had the extended netting? That bat wouldn't have gone in there and hurt that lady then. Okay? So,
you could play a million what-ifs, but here
right
it is
now,
at this day.
Right now, you need to be not reactive. You need to be preventive, and I think in this day and age,
that's what MLB teams are doing. Again, you're seeing that across the league.
But you need to extend it all the way down the lines. Even Daniel Murphy the other night, I watched him. He hit a screaming Mimi into the third base side, and I mean, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't hurt anybody." And then all of a sudden, they gave the all clear sign. I mean, you got players worried about it now because again, bigger, stronger, faster baseball players. And again, balls coming off the bat at 100 miles per hour, reaction times for you and me in the stands, even if we're 200 feet away, still is not that great. And if you're distracted, you're host.
If anything, that's natural selection at play right there. Of hey, if you're not paying attention, it plugs
you're going to fit out the herd. Okay, well that's great. That's good commentary on your behalf.
In a cruel way. I mean, it is a situation, but again, MLB is understanding where the direction is with the athletes of what's happening now. Again, the growing trend of what is your audience base doing right now in ballparks? They're addressing that, and it is a time frame at least situation. MLB, it seems like, is trying to be a bit proactive than reactive. It seems almost kind of that walking that fine line of trying to skirt the line, so to speak, but they're doing it. Teams have decided it is ultimately up to those ball clubs as well. MLB has not forced teams other than where it's kind of mandated right now, but they have not said, you have to extend out that full foul ball, at least foul pole length. It's up to those clubs. And I think most clubs are probably in agreement of probably that's what's for the best at this point in time.
Yeah, I think by today's standards, it is the best, extended all the way out.
Again, if I had it my way, you would have the limited netting where it's just unobstructed view and you would still have fun like back in the day. Is it a situation that media, going back to the senators, at least from Illinois, of where they're saying maybe it's media blowing it out of proportion? I mean, has this been an issue in MLB since the inception back 150 years ago?
When there was no netting at all behind home plate.
Yeah, where, again, players back in the day were still hitting foul balls. Now, is it maybe a slightly less faster ball coming off the bat back in the day? Possibly, but you're talking, we're talking pro athletes where I wouldn't doubt Babe Ruth, if he's hitting a foul ball, probably still coming off that bat pretty fast. Mm-hmm. It's not like the game has changed that drastic where, fastballs back in the early 1920s were 75 and now they're 100.
In the 20s and 30s, you were watching the game. You were focused on the game. Foul ball, boom, you were ready for it.
How about talking to that mic?
I know, but I'm just saying, though, you were focused on the game for 9 innings. You went to a game to watch a game, not dilly-fart around.
I wouldn't doubt back in the day you'd have some idiot reading a book at a game or something. I mean, there's going to be distractions no matter what. Whether it is the times in 1920 baseball to 2019, there's probably going to be – it's probably more prevalent nowadays with the availability of technology and just all this stuff that can easily fit in our pockets and easily carry with us to a ball game. It's probably more prevalent nowadays, but this is something that is probably at least nothing different.
Okay, you and I are going to agree to disagree. I say good. Extend it all the way down the lines. That's what it should be. Protect all the citizens because we are the product of this.
Well, you got it, and there's no doubt about it. I don't blame MLB for doing it. I get it. Am I upset by it? Not really. It is something that it is a growing trend. They are trying to be proactive. It is for the health and safety of fans and attendants that are not going to pay attention or for whatever reason. You got to do it, and I get it.
Do we have a last break here?
Yeah, we do.
Let's take our final break. I do have one last item to bring up to you, and we're back after these words. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Capital Lumber Company, serving our area for over 53 years at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
We'll work hard for your business, and we'll work just as hard to keep it. I'm AJ Miller for Kia of Cheyenne, and you need to see the new 2019 Kia Sportage today. The 2019 Kia Sportage offers numerous options and advanced driving features that help you know who is around you and how best to stay in control. Kia Sportage offers many standard features for the money. Some of the competition does not. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with a slight chance of thunderstorms throughout the day with highs around 84. Then for tonight, it'll be cloudy with rain showers possible with lows around 56. On Thursday, it'll be cloudy once again with thunderstorms likely throughout the day with highs around 79. And on Thursday night, it'll be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 55.
Fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to conduct a sports talk radio show. We've thrown down the gauntlet, upped the stakes, and made it clear that when it comes to sports talk radio in Cheyenne, there's a new player in town. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
And we're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. A couple of things here. We didn't get to this one, surprisingly enough, because we were gone at the time. The Warriors have re-signed Draymond Green. So now you have...
They didn't re-sign him. They extended out the contract.
Extended his contract, so he doesn't have to go through free agency. But again, it's now 5 years, $118 million. So Green at age 29 are going to be a Warrior till at least age 34. So you got Green. You got coming back in around February would be
Klay Thompson
and Steph Curry. So you're going to build your team around those three guys.
Which they did. They've won a championship with those three beforehand. So, and again, you're adding a few
and
other.
You got D'Angelo Russell that you added to the mix. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. And that also leads me into more Warrior news, or former Warrior, that being Kevin Durant, who sat down for the first time in his Los Angeles home today, explaining that, hey, it's not the Warriors' fault that he's got the Achilles tendon tear, that they didn't rush him back.
Granted, there was a lot of indication that he alluded to the decision going to Brooklyn about that.
He basically said, no, it wasn't all the Warriors' decision.
I like the hope, and again, as much respect as I do have for Kevin Durant, and again, I don't blame him for at least doing the Brooklyn move, going to Nets. He had phenomenal, at least few seasons there with the Golden State Warriors. Can't deny that. At least getting one championship as well too, or at least two championships with the Golden State Warriors. So again, can't blame him for what he did. Hopefully he is truthful in this
He says
situation.
right here, hell no. How can you blame the Warriors? Hell no, Durant told Yahoo Sports, speaking at his house in L.A., I heard that the Warriors pressured me into getting back. Nobody never said a word to me during rehab as I was coming back. It was only me and trainer Rick Celebrini working out every day.
All right.
So again,
I like to think that he's truthful and not spinning in front of the media, or at least trying to keep things at ease. Hopefully he's truthful. I'd like to believe that, and hopefully that is the situation.
Coming up this evening, 8 until